comments from federal politicians. Josh Frydenberg this morning in the corridors of the press gallery up in Canberra, somewhere around Parliament House, has said any delay in Victoria for opening businesses and impacts jobs. There's been a callous indifference by the Victorian government to the loss of jobs in the state and the plight of small business. And more than 1,000, this is his quote, more than 1,000 Victorians have lost their job every day as a result of a lockdown. What is your message to Josh Frydenberg, who continues to be frustrated with your roadmap or your changed roadmap?
Well, it's all about the politics with this bloke, isn't it? That's all he does. That's all he does. He's not a leader, he's just a liberal. He's just a liberal, and all he does is play politics every day. And I just don't think that's fair. And I don't think it's right, and I think Victorians are sick of it. Victorians want their family protected, they want the health issue dealt with, so that then we can open up. He is not a leader, he is just a liberal, because all he does is play politics in the midst of a global pandemic.
He is the Federal Treasurer, though. And he does...
Well, then maybe he ought to reflect on that.
Please. He is the Federal Treasurer, and he is responsible for millions of dollars in relief provided to Victorians with JobKeeper.
Yes.
And which will have to continue and have a major impact on the nation's finances and the budget bottom line.
Well, here's a news flash, Simon.
So can I please finish, Premier? So my question is, what more can Victoria do to convince the federal government that this is the right path? Will you fully release the public health advice for yesterday's decisions entirely?
In terms of convincing the Commonwealth Government, I wouldn't have thought I had to convince the Commonwealth Government that Victorians are Australians too. So the notion that there's going to be, we're going to give these people a free pass to play politics because they're the national government providing support to a part of our nation, no. I said last week I'm going to start calling this out, and I am. You can't be off there playing these political games, running this political commentary, and expect that everyone in Victoria is just going to let it slide. I haven't played politics during this crisis. I didn't play politics during the bushfires, and believe me, I could have, but I did not, because I don't believe that's appropriate. So Mr Frydenberg can make all the comments he wants, that's fine, but I'll be calling them out from now on, because it's not helpful. It doesn't keep anyone safe, it doesn't keep anyone safe, and it doesn't get the numbers down. Sorry?
Is he really playing politics when he's calling for people to get back to work? There's 1,000
well, you might very well have a different view.
Their jobs.
You might very well have a different view. I've made my view clear.
Aside from federal politics,
yes.
Will you release the health advice?
Be good to get away from federal politics today, but anyway.
100%. But will you release the health advice that you relied on?
Well, there are obligations, as I understand it, in terms of changes that were made to our disaster and state of emergency arrangements. We're more than happy to comply with those things.
Why not release that now, not through Parliament?
Yeah, and not for Fed politics, but for Victoria, for the people who can't go out to the regions and see their family, for the people who need to wait a couple more weeks. I'm more than happy
to take that on notice and come back to you with whatever information we think is appropriate. But all decisions are made on public health advice. They're not easy decisions. They're decisions that have to be carefully weighed up, and that's exactly what we have done. Again, it's I think on Saturday I boldly predicted that no matter what I announced yesterday, there would be some who have played politics with this every day of the pandemic who would say it wasn't enough. Now we're having a conversation today about all manner of different things. What I think is most important is that we've got just 4 cases today. We're on track, if we continue this trend throughout the week, to take a big step, make a decision this coming weekend for implementation just a few days after. At worst, if this trend were to continue at a slightly higher level, we'll be opening the place up on the 1st of November. That's positive. That's good news. Look at other parts of the world. No acknowledgement of that fact by some. Instead, just the same kind of political attacks. And if they worked on this virus, well, that'd be a good thing. They do not. They do not.
Leaving politics aside, don't you think that releasing the health
advice I've just dealt with that issue.
To the public would help them understand
I've just dealt with
restrictions.
Yes, I've just dealt with that issue, and we will come back to you on that.
I don't think you did. Why
Well, Sidgy, I'll take that on notice, and I will come back to you. So I have dealt with that issue.
Can I ask
25.
You absolutely can, Chanel. Ask on a different topic.
Thank
Apparently, that it doesn't relate to political attacks from the federal government or Border Force, who apparently work for me, and what happens at the Perth airport, which is apparently part of my brief these days as well. Yes,